Most men think a woman gets involved with a married man because she wants drama. But what if the truth is something you've never heard? Something women admit behind closed doors but never say in public. Today, we're going there with Nikki Corbett. And once you hear her answer, you'll never look at attraction the same way again.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Fellas, today we are diving into one of the most misunderstood parts of female attraction. Every man thinks he knows why a woman ends up with a taken man until he hears it from a woman who has lived it, owned it, and refuses to hide from it. Because the truth is, women don't wake up and decide to blow up their lives. There are deeper forces at play. Signals they respond to, behavior patterns they fall into, and most men are completely blind to all of it. They only see the outcome, never the reasons behind it. And if you want a strong marriage or you want to keep the woman you have now, you need to understand those reasons. You need to understand what creates pull, what kills connection, and what makes a woman step into the gray area she never thought she would touch. Today's guest has lived the parts most people pretend don't exist, and she's willing to talk about them openly. So stay with us, because this conversation is going to answer questions most men have had for years, but never knew who to ask. And the moment you hear her side of it, you'll understand the hidden rules you've been missing. Before we get into it, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. And also, if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, let me go ahead and bring up my guest here. Hey, Nikki.
Hi, Paul.
How the hell are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Not going to lie. It is, like I told you when you tagged me in a reel a week or so ago, I'm like, it's always equally terrifying and exciting to see your name pop into my inbox.
Don't worry about it. I'm a pussycat. You know, I had another female guest on a couple of weeks ago, and she's a good friend of mine. Like we go way back to when we both first started TikTok and stuff like that. And I had her on the podcast, and she always says inflammatory stuff, and it always, taken out of context, pisses people off online, and I love it.
Yeah.
And so I had her on, and one of the guys in my men's group goes, yeah, I don't know, that episode didn't have enough teeth, man. I don't think I like that episode, because a lot of the guys in the space expect me to be like a guy on Fresh and Fit who's holding women accountable for their evil deeds. And I'm like, I'm not doing that, because I don't find that educational. What's educational is if you remove morals and judgments and stuff like that and just get people talking, people learn a lot more. That's one of the things we learned from the red pill space, is we took morality off the table and let guys who were maybe a little less scrupulous talk about what they're finding out in the field, and getting rid of judgment. Now we actually have a really good understanding of like how sexual dynamics works, which you would never get because a lot of people won't even talk about this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I love about your podcast, is you're open and honest about it. Like, let's get real. Let's get raw with this stuff. So I think that's a good lead in here for people who don't know who you are, Nikki. Give us your Batman origin story and what made you start this Scarlet Edit podcast.
Yeah. So I'm, a long I started podcasting about 3 years ago. I had an idea. I wanted to tell like real stories from real people. That podcast was called Round Two. It had an evolution and a life of its own that was very beautiful. But ultimately, I felt like the arc of it was too broad. So as a listener, you never knew what you were going to get every week. So it was really hard to grow a community and grow people who wanted to come back for more. Around the time I was starting to realize that, but knew that I had a love for podcasting, I also realized that I had a big part of my own journey that I felt was standing in my way of really getting the life and giving back in a way that I really wanted to. And that was the fact that I was in a relationship with a man who was married for 5 years. And in some ways people are like, okay, that's crazy, that was your personal life, like how are you saying that like that was getting in the way of your professional development or your goals as a content creator or whatever it may be. And I don't know the answer to that question, but for me, I just felt in my soul that like that was standing in the way of me really putting myself out into the world.
Was it because it was something you were trying to keep secret and you were like, whatever at all costs, I don't want that getting out there, or what do you think it is, or do you just not know?
No, I mean, I was never trying to keep it a secret. Like the relationship itself, while it was like technically secret, it wasn't really secret in my world. So like my friends knew, my family knew. He had met people, he'd been at events, family gatherings, holidays, so it wasn't like it was this like I was always being shady. If you're like, oh, well, I know she's dating someone, but like I don't really know what the deal is.
You
Like
never really met him. We know nothing about him. Yeah.
exactly. It was never like that. But when the relationship ended, like any relationship, when a relationship ends, it's like you start living your life differently, right? And you figure out new things and you try new things. And then you get to a point where you're kind of like, okay, eventually I am going to want to date again and I am going to want to meet somebody new. And so for me, I got to a point where I was like, wow, this part of my story is really big. And it's not something that I'm going to like hide from my future significant other. But so how am I going to make it a part of my story in a way that, I'm comfortable with, but then also a way that, people aren't going to be like, oh, well, she's all of these negative things because she made this one choice in her life.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point where like, I love my life. I love me. I think I'm fucking fantastic. And I know what I bring to the table. So now, just because I made a choice in my past that I would never make again in my future, that doesn't define me. And it's not all of who I am. So as I got to working through like, okay, what's next for me? And knowing that I wanted to bring this story to light, ultimately one day it just all clicked. And I decided just to end that other podcast, start the Scarlet Edit, and start talking about all these things that are happening on a very regular basis that people just don't talk about that often.
Yeah, no, that's actually a smart move anyway within podcasting. It's something that a lot of people starting off in podcasting just don't understand because everyone wants to be Joe Rogan or whoever, right? And Joe Rogan talks about literally whatever he wants, but he can do that because he's got the world's biggest podcast,
Mm-hmm.
But when you're just starting out, and you are just talking about a bunch of random things, it's really hard to build a following because when you make everything for everybody, no one tunes in. So you have to you have to really niche down. And actually, you've got a very unique niche. I don't think a lot of people are talking about what you're talking about.
Yeah, thanks. It's going fantastically. It's been really well received. I get random notes all the time from people who will comment on a specific episode and say how it made them feel seen. That's probably the biggest comment that I get, or it made me feel not alone. And it blows my mind because the topics I'm talking about, they're not uncommon. Affairs, divorces, abuse, all these different things in the relationship space that are happening all the time. But shame being a huge one. But what's so great is that because of the conversations that we're having, it is still affecting people and making people feel less alone. And that is everything to me.
Yeah. And I think this podcast episode is probably going to get a lot of hate comments, which is good.
Can't wait.
Please do, because
engage away.
Engagement. But I mean, the reason why though is because a lot of guys who find themselves in the red pill space oftentimes have been the person who got cheated on. A lot of guys are like that. So a lot of guys in this space have a very negative opinion on, well, women in general. They just think, oh, women are cheaters, which isn't true, right?
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
so then when we're going to be openly talking about infidelity and all that kind of stuff, these guys are like, oh, these people are terrible. But
Yeah.
in the red pill space, we also take the morals off the table, guys, and maybe we can learn something here. So when you look back at the 5-year involvement with the married man, do you give him a name on the show, or do you keep him anonymous? Or
I never have. So yeah,
yeah,
it's just, I just usually refer to it as my relationship.
okay, but everyone knows that the relationship is what everyone
Yeah,
knows.
unless yeah, for example, like if I'm talking about my ex-husband, I would say, oh, my ex-husband. So
Okay, fair enough. Because like on my show, I always kept the women I dated anonymous because they don't need the exposure of
right,
You dated that misogynist guy on it? Yeah. Yes, you
yes,
did.
I did.
But so like my girlfriend, who I've been dating for going on 5 years now, I call her Nurse Chick and stuff. So I was just
Right.
curious about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
No, I
so
love
when
it.
you look back on that the 5-year involvement with the relationship, what drew you in before anything crossed the line?
So, I've talked about this a little bit before. So, prior to social media in the current environment, right? Like when it was just Facebook and LinkedIn, but you never went on LinkedIn because it was just a place to like update your job every 3 to 5 to 10 years or whatever.
I would only ever go on LinkedIn if I was looking for a job. Otherwise, I'm not on
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was back in those days, like just post MySpace when social media was starting to, other companies were starting to come there. We had actually met just at a work networking event. And so like everybody was doing at the time, people were just oh, let me add you on Facebook. Let me add you on LinkedIn. So he was somebody that I had added, and we had met, had one of those, like stupid networking conversations. Oh, where are you from? Where do you work? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. You collect people and then you move on. And then obviously as life goes on and you periodically update your page, then you kind of see like, oh, so-and-so got a new job. Cool. Whatever. So then we happened to run into one another. It was very random, but like, I hate the word serendipity because I truly don't believe that there are like coincidences in life. I think that we like end up where we're meant to be based on all of our prior decisions, but we ended up in the same city, both for, the jobs that we had, at the same hotel. And it was crazy. Like, I mean, I remember seeing him walking out of the hotel as I was coming in a car and just being like, holy shit. And I was shocked, but I was excited. But then I was like, oh my God, I wonder if I have his number anywhere. So I did find his number in one of the social media platforms, ended up giving him a text and being like, hey, I'm pretty sure I saw you walking out of, this hotel. And he was like, oh my God, yeah. He's like, I'm headed to dinner. Like, you want to like meet up later on and like have a drink or something? So I was like, sure. So we did. And, then maybe a couple months later, we both happened to be again in the same city, in the same place. And so we ended up having dinner. And then it really just was kind of like game on from there.
Yeah. One thing led to another. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's crazy. Craziness. So let me ask you this too, because one of the things on your Podmatch one sheet that you talk about is that you were married. You mentioned it here before. You got divorced. Were you married when you met him, or were you single when you met him?
No, I was single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it. All right. So he's the bad guy. That's no. Just fucking so a lot of guys want to understand this. What is it about a man who is already committed that can create such a strong pull for a woman?
So I'm going to answer that question from the perspective of generalization, because to me, that is not an attractive factor. But I do.
Did you know he was married when you met him though?
Oh, I certainly did. But it wasn't like, I didn't have that like, oh,
it wasn't like, oh, he's married, let me go after him.
let me see if I can like make something happen. Like that wasn't the situation at all. But I do think that some women do see a man that's married from a like, oh, well, like he knows how to commit. He is, already involved with somebody. So he's maybe like a relationship person. To be honest with you, I don't know. Here's what I think. And this is, I'm only going to speak for myself because I can't even speak for other people, because the majority of people that I know don't want a married man. It's more of a letdown when you see a guy across the room or you meet somebody and you're like, oh my God, that guy's so hot. And then maybe you look on his social media and then you're like, oh fuck, he's married, or fuck, he's got a girlfriend. Like that's like the bummer. But I think that what can happen is that sometimes when women and men are out, and if I meet a group of guys and say there's one guy and we start chit-chatting and he's like, "Oh yeah, my wife, blah blah blah." It it lets your guard down a little bit because you all of a sudden are like, "Oh, he's married." Oh, like I don't have to impress him. I don't have to worry about anything. I can just be myself, which is a good thing to just be yourself, but you should be being yourself in all aspects. But I think sometimes like you can be more comfortable around somebody that you see is already married because you're not worried about them hitting on you, which is a stupid
Yeah,
which is
he's less
stupid.
threatening. He's not going to be.
Yeah.
I don't have to do my relationship jujitsu here.
Yeah, but then what can happen is that it can be misinterpreted, and then the guy can think like, "Oh my god, she's flirting with me," or "Oh my god, maybe she's into me," and it's like, "No, I'm just comfortable."
Okay, that makes sense. So what at least made you what attracted you to him in the first place, though?
I'm a big believer in chemistry, and I think that that chemistry is just something that those little sparkles that you feel when you meet somebody. And
Mhm.
sometimes it can just be platonic. It can just be like, "Oh, this is exciting." I often say that like people sparkle, and sometimes you see someone and you're like, "Oh, that person sparkles." Like I like that. Um
Sparkle. Okay.
and but I do think though that like, you just sometimes have chemistry with somebody. And I had chemistry with him. I mean, I remember even at that first networking event when I met him, I was like, oh, he was easy to talk to. He felt like somebody I had known a long time. It was like that level of comfort.
Mm.
And so it was just more of like, "Hey, how's it going? Like, what's new? Haven't seen you in years. Like, how have things been?" And it was just kind of easy to cut through the bullshit and like any kind of like stupid small talk. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that
There
was,
was already a little bit of a familiarity there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So let me take this to the audience. Guys, when you're watching right now, why do you think a woman would choose a taken man over a single man? Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. Some of you guys have theories. We have, the idea of pre-selection in the space. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. So Nikki, were there qualities he showed that single men around you were not showing at the time?
I mean, I, I mean, I hadn't dated, so I wasn't like, "Oh, I'm out on the dating scene." I was just more like, "Okay, I'm single again. Like, I wonder what that's going to be like."
Yeah.
But he did have some qualities that I do really like and that I do find very attractive. He was very much very like type A, very in charge, very, gentlemanly, like open the door, open the car door, held my hand, like wanted, when the waiter would come at the restaurant, like, we would have talked and, he would order. I mean, like little chivalrous things that unfortunately I think a lot of those have been brushed aside, unfortunately, but I
Mhm.
think that they really matter. I like feeling like I am with a man that is like take charge, take care, and that but more so that I trusted him enough in order to allow that behavior and to be okay with that behavior. So that those were some of the things that I really, liked as traits aside from that, I just really enjoyed him for who he was.
Yeah. So a guy who's decisive, sort of sets the tone, takes the lead kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did make the plans. Did he do a
Yeah, I
lot of
mean,
that kind of stuff?
he was the guy that liked to do those things. So it was great because I was like, "Cool, take care of everything." I mean, I remember just being like, "I don't want to be in charge of everything. I'm in charge of everything in my own life. I don't want to be in charge of everything in a dating life." Because I'd been in relationships in the past where I was the one that was doing like all of the things, like managing the home, like taking care of, making sure everything was paid on time, like doing different things. And you get to a point where you're like, like I don't want to be in charge of everything. So I liked that he liked to be in charge.
That's good. So you also were married and went through a divorce. Is that
Mhm.
a part of the like what led to the divorce?
Oh, like with like being in charge of things?
Yeah, like were you running that relationship? Like what led to
Um,
the divorce?
yeah, I would say that I was definitely, I mean, I was definitely more handling things around the home, whether it was making sure the house was cleaned or paying the bills or doing, I mean, obviously he contributed financially. So that's not what I mean. Like I was his sugar mama, but I
Sure.
mean, it was like me, going online and paying it and whatnot. But at the end of the day, look, my ex-husband is a wonderful man, and I have to give him a ton of credit because we're still friendly with one another today. We're still good friends today. And I have to say, like, for me to put out this podcast and the Scarlet Edit and be talking so openly about many relationships that I've had, he still is my biggest supporter and my biggest cheerleader. But at the end of the day, we just weren't a right fit, and it wasn't nothing bad happened. We don't hate one another. It wasn't anything. It was just more, we're just not meant to be married to one another.
That's nice. Yeah, my ex-wife hates my guts, and
I know, it's crazy. People are so shocked that we actually still like one another. Like, people will say all the time, like, I can't believe you still talk to her. And he's like, why? Like, she's not a bad person. Like, we just didn't work out.
Yeah, no, like she and I we're cordial with each other, when we're in person, but we don't like each other that much. It's for the best. It's for the best. So, let's see here. You talk a lot on your one sheet about wanting honesty and depth. What did the guy that you were dating there for 5 years, what did he do that created that connection for you?
We just got along really well. And I think that that's super important to not only love the person you're with, but like really like them and enjoy being with them. And, he was easy to talk to. He was a lot of fun. He was like someone that he was always up for anything. So, whether it was like, oh, like, let's like go for a walk after work, or let's go wine tasting on the weekend, or let's try this new restaurant, or, we could sit and talk about a lot of different subjects that was enjoyable for me, because I was at a point too where I was really focused on growing as just a woman, and I was really wanting to have more intellectual conversations and wanting to, just like dive deep into different types of topics. And having somebody that enjoyed a lot of the little things, one of the things that I talk about a lot is like that little things in relationships matter. And, yes, of course, the big things matter, right? You want to have morals, values, a lot of those things in alignment, but I think little things matter too. And it can be as simple as, oh my God, we both really love this artist, or we both really love like a great Chardonnay, or we both want to, we take our physical fitness really seriously. I think those are all like little and big things, but it's nice when someone is just so in alignment with the things that make you you. And I felt like that was that's what made, I think, our time together so easy, is because it was like always like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds fun. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to go do that. Or yeah, like I want to go walk 10 miles after work. Why not? Let's do it.
Did he ever come up with stuff like, he was always coming up with different ideas of, hey, let's go try this out or whatever. Was that a lot of stuff that you had never experienced before too? And you're like, oh yeah, I've never done that before. Or was it all stuff you've done before, but it was just cool that you didn't have to come up with it?
I think it was like probably a little bit of both. There were certainly like some places that I had never been that we went together. Some different types of like food or wine that I hadn't tried. I do like laugh and say that he contributed quite a bit to my current level of snobbery when it comes to wine and food. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. You're a little bit of a wine and food snob.
I know what I like. Yeah.
Okay. And you're down in Arizona, right?
I am. Yeah.
Oh man. Nurse Chick and I, this is a good side tangent here. Nurse Chick and I, we went out to Phoenix 2 years ago now, I think, because she had a fitness competition out there.
Oh, right on.
And I'm a pro wrestling nerd, right? Well, there's a pro wrestler out there who lives out there, and he works for WWE 2K games and all that kind of stuff, but he also works the independent circuit. So I was down there and I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, where's a good place to go to eat after her competition's over? Because she was eating like fish flakes at that point, trying to really slim down, And he goes, oh, there's this Italian place. I can't even remember the name of it, but it was this Italian place out there. After the show, I'll see if I can track it down and
Okay.
send it to you so you can try it, because this place was phenomenal. And
Yeah.
they would bring out a big block of cheese, like a big
Mhm.
block of Parmesan, and then they would take noodles and mix it around on top of this block of Parmesan cheese to
Oh,
really just get the
yeah.
Parmesan in there, and then put it on. They
Mhm.
would do it all at your table there, and it was
Oh,
like
that's so fun.
the most phenomenal like Italian restaurant I've ever been to. That's out there, where in your neck of the woods.
Nice.
So, hey, I don't know if you know this. We got to take a quick break here, but I just dropped a book that's hopefully, if guys follow this, they won't be stepping out of their marriages. They won't be dating women they're not supposed to date, and they'll actually keep their relationships going healthy. You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Right now, your relationship might feel solid. She is warm, she's affectionate, she treats you well. And you think you finally figured it out. But if you look back over your life, how many times did things feel the same right before she pulled the plug? No warning, no big fight. Just one day she said she was done, and you were left replaying conversations trying to figure out what you missed. Most men never see it coming, not because they're clueless, but because attraction fades quietly. She doesn't announce it, she simply responds to how you show up. And if you don't know how to keep attraction alive over the long term, you can be the most loyal man on earth and still get hit with the same ending you thought you had outgrown. The pattern repeats unless you understand why it happens. That is why I wrote Keep Your Bitch. It's for men who want to keep a good relationship strong, not fix a broken one. It teaches you how to stay grounded, consistent, confident, and attractive in a way she continues to respond to year after year. Whether you're in something new or you're in your second or third marriage and failure is not an option, this book gives you the structure to make sure you never get blindsided again. If you want to keep what you have and never repeat past mistakes, the book is available now on Amazon. Pick it up today. It's a terrible title.
I think it's great. I mean, honestly, I think what you do is so awesome because it's just so disruptive. And I mean, I laugh constantly when I see what you're talking about.
See, you get me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many people that they'll see a social media post about that title of book, and they're like,
Yeah.
with a title like that, you don't know anything about women. I'm like, well, first of all, you don't know anything about marketing, but
Right. I know. But I think what you're doing is so great because you're like helping people, men, like stay in their relationship, stay married or find the right person and then be able to keep them and not let them get complacent and sloppy and, end up in a place that they don't want to be.
yeah, and well, it actually ends up benefiting women too. So it's
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
method to my madness, guys. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about you some more, Nikki. So let me ask you this: what caused that relationship to end? I mean, obviously, those types of relationships rarely work out because
Exactly.
because of the nature of them. But why did
Yeah.
why did that particular one not work out?
I mean, it sucks because you being in a relationship like that is tough and it has its own set of rules, it has its own set of normal. Um and the majority of the time they run their course because kind of like you said, like if you're with somebody and there you get into a routine and you get into this life, it's like, why would you, if it's working, why would you rock that boat? I got to a point where I was just like, there's nothing more I can do. There's nothing more I can give in order for this to be more. And I wanted more.
Mhm.
And so it's always funny too. It's like you never wake up. I mean, I think for the most part, like you don't wake up intending to end a relationship. Sometimes it's just that's how the day unfolds. And I mean, I certainly didn't wake up the day that I ended it to end it, but we ended up in a conversation and it sucked because it was over text. And it was just like this back and forth. And I was just like, if you can't, after this long, tell me that you are going to choose me, then I have to go, because I there's nothing more I can do. And I'm getting continually more and more frustrated as time has gone on. And that's not fun for either of us.
Yeah. Was and you don't have to go into depth on this or anything like that, but was there an idea that at some point he was going to leave his wife and you guys were going to run off into the sunset, or?
I mean, that was my hope. That was, I am a hopeless romantic. Like, I am a Pisces. I don't know if any of your listeners are into astrology, but like, I
I'm
am a
way into the woo woo. I'm probably,
yeah.
I
So
love
I
that
mean,
shit.
I love it. And I am a Pisces to my core. I am a hopeless romantic. I love love. I believe in love. And so everything in me is just kind of like, and this happens to a lot of women who end up in relationships with married men. It's like they give and they give and they give and they love. And it's like and then you think, like, our brains, like, we're wired for love. We want love as human beings. And then we sit there and we're thinking, like, well, everything's amazing. Like, he thinks I'm so perfect. He loves me. He tells me all these things. He treats me all these ways. Why wouldn't he want to be with just me? And it's a tough thing to reconcile. But I mean, ultimately, like, yeah, I had to choose to break my own heart and end it because I was tired of waiting and I was tired of feeling frustrated.
Yeah. Did you guys live in the same city, or did you guys always have to like travel to meet each other?
I mean, we didn't live in the same city, so there was travel involved, but for the majority of the relationship, we were both working in the same area, so it made it very convenient.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, well, getting off that subject and just going in relationship general here, just to take you out of the hot seat.
Thanks. I know. I can't wait to read comments. I am go easy on me, guys.
Just ignore it. Just ignore actually, like, I have fun with the hate comments because I get a
Oh,
lot.
I think they're great. There was somebody commented on one of my videos that I looked like ET with a wig. And I was like, you know what?
Was that on YouTube?
It was on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh yeah, YouTube's brutal.
Yeah.
YouTube's the
Yeah.
worst.
And I died. I started laughing so hard. I immediately screenshot it. I sent it to all my friends. I was like, this is literally amazing. And then I commented back. I was like, so you think I'm pretty? And he never commented.
That's awesome. That's how you handle it, right? Like you take the hate comments, and what I usually like to do is I don't even acknowledge the insults or whatever. I like to just ask clarifying questions and just keep
Yeah.
them commenting, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Especially, I know. And then you get some people that just like go, and you're like, thank you for the engagement.
Awesome. Yeah, the algorithm
Yeah.
loves it. Yeah, they just think that
Loves.
it's such an engaging video because people are commenting.
Yeah.
So let me ask your opinion here. Why do you think so many couples fail to create like real emotional depth once that early excitement fades in a relationship? Because that's like what we say in the space is relationships, like monogamous relationships, are game on hard mode, because
Hmm.
once you get past the honeymoon phase, now you guys are real, you're raw, you've seen each other's
Mhm.
bullshit, and now a lot of people just sort of get complacent. But I just want to know what you think about that.
I think it really boils down to communication. I think everything is going to fail or succeed based on how well you can communicate with one another. And like, I stand by that. I think in every aspect of life, it comes down to communication. So if you get out of that honeymoon phase, and if things are bothering you, or if you start changing. I mean, that's the thing too, is it's like, we have to remember that, like, we are all human beings and we're going to be continually evolving until we evolve into the ground and we die. Like, so to be as you're going through your personal evolution, if you're in a relationship with somebody else, it's like you have to be able to communicate what it is you're feeling, what it is you're thinking about, what it is that you want to do. Maybe you want to quit your job that has provided strength and stability for your family for 15 years. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I am feeling like if I'm going to jump out of my skin, if I don't go and take this risk. You have to be able to have these conversations with one another, because if you don't, that's where like resentment can can sneak in. And that's where disconnection can sneak in. And that's where these things can happen, where then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, I haven't had sex with this person in 6 months. Like, we barely say hi more than hello and, goodbye most of the time. And I mean, and I think this is more in cases when children are involved, because like there's other distractions around the home. But I mean, regardless of if you have kids or not, I think that communicating as you are continuing on in your relationship is super, super important.
Why do you think men and women have such a hard time with communicating? Because I mean, that is the standard advice, right? Communication's
Yeah.
the key to a healthy relationship, but everybody struggles with it. And guys are
Everybody.
like, I'm trying to communicate with her, she ain't fucking listening. And she's like,
Mhm.
I've told him for 5 fucking years and he ain't listening, right? So
Right.
clearly the communication's not working. Why do you think that is?
It's so true. And I think I don't know. I don't know if it's that we can come across as nagging. I don't know if it's we can come across as complaining. I don't know if it's like the delivery of what we're saying and how we're saying it. I don't know if it's fear of being made fun of being rejected, of, feeling like you're less than to your partner. I think it is really tough because I mean that's so true. I mean, one of the things that they say about women all the time is that like we mourn the ending of a relationship before we actually end the relationship itself.
Mhm.
And I mean, I know that I'm guilty of that, like with my marriage. Like I remember saying the same things to my ex-husband over and over and over again. And then when I was finally over it, and it was my last time saying it because it was me starting the conversation for our marriage to end, that was when it was like he all of the sudden heard me. And I was
Mm.
just like, where have your ears been for the last 4 years?
Yeah.
Like,
So what, 4 years? So would you say that you like at what point did you mentally check out from the marriage?
that it's always that God, I haven't thought about this in years. It's an interesting question,
Yeah.
and it's not something that I recognized in the moment, but in retrospect, I did. I can tell you exactly when I was like, okay, this is never going to be what I want it to be.
Yeah.
We were at a wedding, a beautiful wedding at this gorgeous venue. And we had got there a little early before the ceremony, and we were wandering around the grounds. It was a place that we had been before, but they were constantly updating it. And we were wandering around the grounds, and and we both looked great. I mean, probably one of my top 10 executed moments of fashion for this wedding. And I remember I like grabbed him to try to kiss him, and he pushed me away, being like, "Oh, someone could see. Someone could fucking see you kiss your wife at a wedding? Who
Yeah.
fucking cares?"
Was he always like averse to public displays of affection, or was this all of a sudden something new?
Um, I don't think it was either of those two things. I think that we didn't have a level of chemistry that I know I need now at this point in my life. And so, but it wasn't like we weren't, flirt. It wasn't like we weren't like a touchy couple. I mean, we would hold hands, we would hug a lot. But I just remember being in that moment. It was like, I remember just kind of being like, okay, whatever, but in retrospect, I remember being like, that was it. That was the day that I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, the switch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fascinating because in the space, studying tons of relationships and working with tons of guys and just hearing all these guys' stories and stuff like that. It's like women will check out up to 2 years, uh,
Yeah.
and then just be mentally checked out, just sort of going through the motions, getting their ducks in a row, and just getting up to the point where they're ready to finally drop that brick in the lap. And guys are the last to know. Guys are completely clueless to it. Just like you said, at the
Mhm.
end, when the house is on fire, that's when they
Yeah.
call the fire department, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's it. It's really unfortunate. A lot of guys are completely oblivious to it, and I'm guilty of that too. When so my backstory, the gal that got me into the space to study the stuff, to make me actually look in the mirror and go, what are you doing wrong here?
Mhm.
She at the near the end of that relationship, I was like, I remember you were trying to tell me something one day, and I went back looking through my emails, and I found the email, and I finally understood what you were trying to tell me. She goes, look on the date of that email. And I go, Okay. And I look at it, it was 2 years before the breakup. And it was like, it's like clockwork. And and I was, completely clueless, because a lot of guys are just like, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You know, but she's bitchy a little bit, but that's what women are supposed to do. And they just sort of carry on until she's like, no, I'm not happy, and I'm ready to file for divorce. And all of a sudden guys are like, no, let's fix it. And it's like, no, you're past the point of no return at this point. My whole family knows. My dog knows. You're the only one that didn't fucking get the memo. And guys are terrible about that shit, you know?
Yeah, it is. And it sucks because, sometimes the relationship didn't necessarily have to end. I mean, some probably should and whatnot. But yeah, it is. I think, going back to the communication piece, it's like, how can we take like our feelings and our ego out of the way and actually just listen to the words? Americans are we're very tonal, right? Like we read into tone on text, we read into tone on email, we hear tone when we're talking. Like, I mean, I've had to work on this my whole life, because people would be like, oh my God, why are you in a bad mood? I'm like, what? I'm not in a bad mood. And they're like, oh, well, the way you just said that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not in a bad mood at all. So I think that it's so important to like check your ego, stop being afraid, and just listen to the words and listen and understand. And don't get defensive if your wife or your husband is telling you like, hey, this is what I need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that I try to teach men, honestly, is that your wife or your girlfriend, she's not listening to a single word coming out of your mouth. All she hears is your body language and your tone. And so if you're mad and you're yelling, all she hears is you yelling. And that makes her feel scared, and then that makes her feel combative, and now she's going to come back at you, and you're not listening either. You're just waiting for the next thing to say and trying to explain yourself and excuse yourself, and then no one gets anywhere, you know? And so, so I always have to teach guys that, one, you don't have to explain your actions, you know, and I go, and then she just wants to feel heard and understood. So all you have to do is just listen, ask clarifying questions. And they're like, well, does it matter what I say? I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what your feelings are. It's just listen to her, let her get it off her chest. And then 90% of the time, she just wants to feel heard and understood, and you've done your job.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, asking, because sometimes like men, you guys can be fixers, right? Like you want to, like you hear a problem, you want to fix it. Well, maybe ask and just say like, hey, do you just need somebody to listen right now? Or do you want me to fix? Do you want me to help you fix this? Because I think that goes a long way. I mean, I have that type of friendship with some of my girlfriends, and it's great because sometimes it's like, okay, are you bringing this up because you want my opinion, or do you just need somebody to vent to and be like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
And it's helpful.
Yeah. And have you ever read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus?
Years ago. It's on my list to reread.
Yeah, John Gray was on my podcast like a month or so ago.
Oh,
like,
awesome.
His people reached out and they're like, hey, we want to come on your podcast. I was like, get the fuck out of here. John Gray, like the John Gray. Okay.
Yes.
So, but yeah, one of the things that I learned from his book, in fact, if you listen to the audiobook, it's very short. It's like a 2-hour listen, which I learned from him is an abridged version. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't read your whole book, sir. But but the biggest takeaway is that both men and women don't want unsolicited advice, but for different reasons.
Right.
And men or women are terrible about this stuff, right? Well, like my mom is the worst when it comes to offering a bunch of advice that my dad doesn't want to hear. Right. And she does that shit to me too, you know? And the thing is, she just wants to be helpful. I'm just trying to help here. I'm just trying to, well, men want to us, you're walking on our manhood. Like we're fixers. We want to fix it. We want to solve the problem ourselves. And so we don't want your advice, you know, and it's not a slight. It's just, we don't want it, you know? And the same thing with women, like we're trying to fix things because we're problem solvers, and women just want you to understand and listen, have some empathy, right? And we're like, oh, there's a clear problem or solution here, right? You know, and so it's just so hard. But as long as people can step back from that and realize, and just like you said, ask the question, well, do you want my advice or do you just want me to listen? It'll solve like so many problems but it's so hard for men and women to get out of those two roles, you know.
Totally.
It's super hard, especially in this day and age. You know, one of the things that you talk about on your podcast a lot is just stigmas, right? Around various things, divorces, affairs, not following the standard path. have you ever faced like judgment that really just it just really like you had to learn to get over it quick, or like what's the worst thing like anyone's ever said to you about like your past experience or divorces and being in that situation?
I mean, they probably haven't said it to my face, to be honest with you. So
Fair.
I
Yeah.
I probably haven't heard it. I'm certain that there's been a lot. I mean, I'm from a small town, so when this podcast launched, like I
Get
know
ready. It's in the comment. No.
yeah, like the rumor mill was just like lit on fire. But it- wait, so you were asking about like what people have said? I think nothing. I mean, truly, like nothing has been that bad. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
even some of the comments that I've got, but I also attribute to me saying, like, oh, nothing has been that bad. I attribute it to like who I am and where I am in my life currently. Like,
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm very grounded. I know what my values are. And I have a phenomenal support system of people who are like so proud of me and like cheering me on and wanting me to make this everything that I want it to be.
Mhm.
So when I see like a little, what's that little guy that with the little eyes that's like people's little avatar, and it's like, user 273295 123, and like that they're telling me like that I deserve to be single for the rest of my life and
Yeah.
I'm a horrible person. I'm like, cool.
Thanks for your input there,
Yeah.
anonymous guy. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, thanks. Love that. I'm so sad. I'm gonna go cry.
Honestly, I mean, what you're doing too, where you're just like, I'm owning it. I don't,
Yeah.
there's nothing. When you do that, you take people's, weapon away from them because
Right.
they've got nothing to use. It's something that I learned. I learned when I was in junior high, because I used to get in fights all the time. Can you believe that? I used to get I used to get in fist fights all the time, and I got in so many fights that my mom's like, I'm putting you in counseling. And so my mom took me to this counselor for a little while. And one of the things that he said was, he's like, why are you fighting? And I was like, oh, these kids call me a dummy, stupid face or whatever. I don't know. And he goes, well, just go to them and go, yeah, I'm a dummy, stupid face. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm not though. That's what makes me so mad. And he goes, yeah, but who cares?
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares? And I
Yeah.
was like, huh? And he goes, no, they just want to get a rise out of you. That's why they do it. Right. And the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
And so he goes, if you just own it, they're like, oh, well, this isn't fun anymore. Let me go pick on this guy.
Right. No, it's so true. I think about that like anytime I'm gonna post anything, and
Yeah.
maybe it's like, I'm like really shining the light on this again, or I'm really doing whatever. I'll sit there and I'll look at it and I'm like, God, but this is so good. Like this is so good. I gotta put this out. And then it's like I'm like, fuck it, and just post like
Yeah.
done, like whatever. I don't care.
Just,
Because I
yeah.
mean, I think the most important thing that like so many people fail to realize is that nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Like nobody really gives a fuck. Like even people that follow you aren't fucking paying attention.
No.
And that's what's like nuts to me. Like I've literally got a couple of messages recently and people are like, oh, wait, what? What's the show about? I'm like, you've been following it since July, bro. Like, what do you mean? What's it about?
Yeah.
But I'm also just like, it just gives me even more motivation. I'm like, I'll just keep going because your content finds the right people.
Yeah. What I find, I don't know if you're doing this, but like on YouTube, I had to finally move my shorts to a separate channel
Oh,
because
uh-huh.
if you have long form content and shorts,
Uh-huh.
shorts will get you a ton of followers, but they will never ever
Much the
convert.
long.
Right. And
Oh,
it'll end up killing your long form content because those subscribers will be shown your long form content, but they're short form viewers. And so
interesting.
they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to watch an hour of that shit." Right.
Uh-huh.
And so what I learned is like I had to move all my stuff to a separate channel. But that's the thing. There's short form content, people that are just looking for shortcuts and, quick
Yeah.
dopamine hits. And then there's people that want to sink their teeth in and like understand something. And so they'll watch the long form and
Mm-hmm.
you just got to be like, okay, fine. There's, there's two
No,
different audiences here.
it is. It's so true. So, but yeah, I think just like recognizing though that like nobody really gives a shit about what you're doing. And if
No.
anybody's talking about you, they're talking about you in passing and in short term. And, one of my favorite sayings is people talk about you because when they talk about themselves, nobody listens. And that keeps me really fired up and going when I know I put out a piece of content that's a little spicier.
That's You know, it is good though to try to develop like your core super fan
Mhm.
group, because those people typically will care. They'll, you know, but it's
Yeah.
going to be a small amount of your wider subscribers. You could be wiped off the planet. You might say something off color, and like YouTube will take your channel away, and most of your subscribers won't even know you're gone. And
Mhm.
that's what's really kind of sad. So it's like in this market, you got to like really try to find that core niche of
Yeah.
super fans.
Super
That's that's the hardest part. So I got one last question for you, and we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
After everything you've lived through,
Mhm.
what qualities matter to you in a man now that did not matter in like your 20s?
Oh God. In my 20s. That was I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even think I knew who I was in my 20s, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's so crazy is that, you see some of these people who have been in these long-term relationships, right? I mean, like I'm 47 right now. So what is interesting it is there's a lot of men in my age range who are like just getting divorced and they've been in their relationships for like 25 years. And I'm like,
And they're out of
you
practice.
they're so out of practice. They haven't taken any time for themselves to work on themselves, to do anything, to learn who they are in this new world because it is a whole new fucking world. I mean, I felt like it took me a good 18 months to 2 years to even understand what dating is like in this era. Um and so I think that that is such a turnoff. Like there is nothing more of a turnoff than meeting a guy who's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm separated and yeah, I just moved out and blah blah blah." And I'm like, so why are you even speaking to women right now? You need to be like working on yourself. Like you should not be dating. You don't even you're a baby. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
You've been with the same person since you were 20. Like what are you doing? So I think like for me, I have really strong boundaries at this point just because I don't want to I don't want a project. I don't want to coach somebody through their divorce. I don't want to hold somebody's hand as they're like figuring out like, "Oh my god, I didn't get to eat red meat for the last 15 years because my wife said it was bad for us and now all of a sudden I can eat steak." Like, no, like figure all that shit out on your own. So, yeah, I mean, I guess
AI
I'm
is going to
just
clip this shit, and all these guys are going to be like, "What a bitch! I can't believe she's." The guys in this space get so fired up over the dumbest shit, though.
I love it.
I just find it hilarious. I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, because you got a valid point. It's one of the things that I tell guys all the time. Like, take like 6 months at least
At
to fucking
least.
heal after a breakup, just to learn to be alone and learn to
Yeah.
enjoy your own company. And a lot of these guys just don't know how to be alone. They've never been
Totally.
alone.
Totally. It's like
Yeah.
they went from like high school to college to being married. Like, so it's like they've always had their mom or a wife. And it's like, no, like maybe you need to do your own dishes and your own laundry and learn how to cook and be attractive to women in this day and age. I mean, it's worth it.
Learn how to date efficiently. There's a
Yeah.
method. There is a method to the madness once you learn it. But all these guys, they get divorced and then they find themselves on the dating circuit. They haven't been in practice in 15, 20 years. There's all this new shit like Me Too movement and all this
Mhm.
kind of stuff that didn't exist 20 years ago when you first got married. And there's
Totally.
dating apps now. There wasn't a dating app when I met my
Oh,
wife. We actually had to
yeah.
meet people in person. It was weird, right?
Right, right. And like this might sound like crude for a woman to say, but like go out and get laid. Like have a few one night stands. Like sow your oats. Like get it out of your system. Like you got to figure yourself out because if you've been with the same person for 20 or 25 years, like you got to see what else is going on out in the world.
Well,
See what's out there.
that's what I tell guys to do. I say you got to go out and date like women date. Date
Yeah.
like women date, which is women keep their options open and they're looking for their best possible option. They're not trying to consolidate typically on every nice guy that talks to them, but all guys are sniper dating. They're like, the first girl that's nice to me, I'm going all fucking in. I'm ignoring everyone else. And then you get fingers on and you stop seeing better options. So I'm like, no, stop that shit. Stop trying to get locked down. Just go out there and spin plates, date multiple women, and you'll find that the cream rises to the top. The women that really want to invest in you will swim through broken glass to give you a glass of lemonade. Like, and then the other ones fall by the wayside, and then you'll stop being in relationships that, you should never have been in the first place. But
yeah, I mean, it's so attractive to like meet men who have been like, yeah, I got out of a relationship or I got a divorce and I've been single now for a year or for 18 months. And I've really just spent that time like figuring out me and doing my own thing and like seeing what else is out there. And it's like, oh my God, that's so refreshing, because it's like, otherwise it's like, am I just a replacement for, somebody else that's there to like cook dinner, do your laundry and have sex with you? Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, because you're basically saying this last woman rejected me. Well, and you're like, well, why would I want you if if all these women are rejecting you, right? But if you're the kind of guy who's like, yeah, everyone likes me, then you're like, oh, I'll probably like you too. Then makes sense. There's something backing that up. Nikki, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for your honesty. I really appreciate that. Where can people find you and your podcast online?
Honestly, it's the Scarlet Edit. So Apple, YouTube, Spotify, or you can just go to thescarletedit.com and everything is there.
I will put your website in the description. Thanks for joining me. Guys, if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have, hold on. Is that coming back up? Come back up. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's all we got. We will see you guys next time.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.